The letter arrived like a grenade, its crisp envelope slicing through Elliot Harper's quiet morning. He stood in the kitchen of his upstate New York vacation home, the scent of pine and lake water drifting through the open window, unaware that his world was about to fracture. By the third sentence, his hands trembled. His sisters, Claire and Meredith, demanded he sell the house's sanctuary, his heart's refuge for a quick profit, claiming it was family property. Elliot, 28, had built this life with sweat and sacrifice. A graphic designer with a knack for turning emotion into art. He'd purchased the lakefront property 3 years ago with his own savings, a testament to his independence after years of navigating a conservative family that never fully embraced his truth as a gay man. The house, with its cedar walls and sprawling deck, wasn't just a home. It was where he'd fallen in love with Liam Carter, 29, a fiercely intelligent lawyer with a smile that could thaw the coldest doubts. Together, they'd turned the place into a haven, hosting quiet dinners and stolen kisses under the stars. But Claire and Meredith, his older sisters, saw only dollar signs in the rising property market. They'd never set foot here, yet their letter dripped with entitlement, accusing Elliot of hoarding what they called our inheritance. The audacity stung. Their parents had left them equal shares of a modest estate. But this house, it was Elliot's alone, bought with late nights freelancing and a dream of freedom. He reread the letter, their words sharp as knives. You owe us. Sell it, or we'll make you. Liam, leaning against the counter, sensed the shift in Elliot's face. What's wrong? He asked, his voice low, steady. Elliot handed him the letter, and as Liam's eyes scanned the page, his jaw tightened. They can't do this, he said. This is yours. But Elliot knew his sister's Claire, 34, a real estate agent with a knack for manipulation, and Meredith, 32, a social media influencer with a talent for public shaming. They wouldn't stop at words. The first salvo came that evening. Meredith posted a cryptic Instagram story, a photo of the lake, captioned, "Some people think they can keep what belongs to family. Stay tuned." Comments flooded in, speculative and cruel, from her thousands of followers. Elliot's phone buzzed with notifications, strangers questioning his character, his choices. Claire followed with a group email to extended family, painting Elliot as selfish, a black sheep who'd cut them out. The betrayal cut deeper than Elliot expected, reopening wounds from years of family dinners where his identity was sidestepped, ignored. Liam pulled him close on the couch, their fingers intertwining. We'll fight this, Liam whispered. Together. But fighting wasn't simple. Claire had connections in real estate, and whispers reached Elliot that she was already pitching the house to developers, claiming she had family approval. Meredith's posts grew bolder, hinting at a family secret that would shock everyone. Elliot's inbox filled with messages from cousins, aunts, even old friends, asking why he was tearing the family apart. The pressure was suffocating, but Liam was his anchor. Late at night, they'd sit on the deck, the lake lapping softly, and Liam would remind him, "This house is us. It's where I knew I loved you." Those words kept Elliot grounded, even as the world seemed to tilt against them. The sisters' next move was a legal threat. A formal letter arrived from Claire's attorney friend, citing vague family trust clauses and demanding access to the property's deed. Elliot's heart sank. Never had a trust, never signed anything but the mortgage. Liam, with his legal expertise, saw through the bluff but warned that public perception was shifting. Meredith's followers were now tagging Elliot in posts, accusing him of greed, of betraying family values. One post, a photo of Elliot from a family reunion years ago, was captioned, When your own brother chooses money over blood. The lie twisted in Elliot's gut. He wasn't the selfish one. He'd offered to host his sisters here, to share the space. But they'd scoffed, uninterested unless it meant cash. As the days passed, the lake house felt less like a sanctuary and more like a battleground. Elliot couldn't sleep, haunted by the thought of losing the place where he'd found himself. Found Liam. One evening, as they walked the shore, Liam stopped and took Elliot's face in his hands. "We're not just fighting for a house," he said, his voice fierce with love. "We're fighting for our future." Elliot nodded, tears stinging his eyes. They kissed, the world fading to just the two of them, the water's edge their only witness. But the fight was far from over, and the sisters' next move would push everything to the brink. The war escalated on a crisp October morning when Claire showed up unannounced. Elliot opened the door to find her standing on the porch, her sharp blazer and sharper smile a stark contrast to the lake's calm. "We need to talk," she said, brushing past him without invitation. Liam, working at the kitchen table, looked up, his eyes narrowing. Claire didn't acknowledge him. Her focus locked on Elliot. "You're making this harder than it needs to be," she said, tossing a folder onto the counter. Inside were real estate listings, developers' offers numbers that made Elliot's stomach churn. "This house could set us all up," she pressed. "Why are you so stubborn?" Elliot's voice shook as he responded. "This isn't about money. This is my home." Claire laughed. A cold, cutting sound. "Your home. You think you're the only one who deserves nice things. We're family, Elliot. We share." Her words dripped with hypocrisy. She never shared anything. Not time. Not understanding. Not when he came out at 19 and she'd called it a phase. Liam stood, his presence a quiet storm. "You're on his property, Claire. You don't get to dictate terms." Her eyes flicked to Liam, dismissive. "This doesn't concern you." But it did. Liam was part of this house, part of Elliot's life in a way Claire could never comprehend. The argument spiraled, Claire accusing Elliot of cutting her out, of choosing his lifestyle over family. The word lifestyle landed like a slap, and Elliot felt the old shame creep in, the years of hiding who he was. Liam's hand found his under the table, a silent reminder, "You're enough." Claire left with a warning, "Sell, or we'll drag this into court." And Meredith's ready to tell the world. Meredith's telling the world began that night. A viral thread on X painted Elliot as a villain, complete with screenshots of old family texts taken out of context. Elliot always put himself first. One post read, followed by a photo of the lake house with a caption, "He's sitting on millions while we struggle." The lies were clever, weaving just enough truth to sting. Meredith's followers ate it up, their comments a mix of pity for her and vitriol for Elliot. Strangers called him heartless, greedy, even slurs he hadn't heard since high school. The public shaming was relentless, and Elliot's design clients started pulling away, citing reputation concerns. Liam, ever the strategist, suggested they fight fire with fire. "We tell your story," he said, his voice steady but urgent. "The truth about the house. About us." Elliot hesitated. Going public meant exposing their love to a world that wasn't always kind. But Liam was right. Silence was losing them the war. They spent the night drafting a response, a heartfelt post for Elliot's small social media following. It detailed the house's meaning, their love, the sisters' greed. "This isn't about money," Elliot wrote. "It's about a home where I found myself, where I found love." They hit post, hearts pounding, and waited. The response was mixed. Friends and allies shared it, their support a lifeline. But Meredith's followers swarmed, twisting Elliot's words. accusing him of playing the victim. Claire doubled down, emailing family with a new narrative. Elliot was unstable, manipulated by Liam. The lies hurt, but the betrayal from family siding with his sisters hurt more. A cousin texted, "Just sell. Man, don't tear us apart." Elliot stared at the message, his chest tight. Liam pulled him into a hug, whispering, "They don't get to define us." The next blow came when Claire filed a formal complaint with the county, claiming the house was part of a disputed family trust. It was a lie, but the legal hassle meant Elliot had to hire a lawyer, draining their savings. Liam took on pro bono work to help. His nights spent poring over documents while Elliot sketched, trying to hold on to the creativity that kept him sane. One night, as they sat by the fire, Liam traced the lines of Elliot's palm. "We're stronger than this," he said. "They can't take what we've built." But as Meredith's online campaign grew uglier, and Claire's legal threats loomed, Elliot wondered if love alone could win. Winter crept into the lake house, the chill seeping through the walls as Elliot and Liam fought to hold their ground. The legal battle intensified. Claire's lawyer filed motions demanding access to the property's records, each one a thinly veiled attempt to exhaust Elliot's resources. The stress was relentless, but Liam's calm resolve kept them steady. He'd spend hours researching case law, his laptop glowing late into the night, while Elliot poured his fears into sketches of the lake, the dock, their life. "We're not losing this," Liam said one evening, his voice fierce. "This is our home." Meredith's online attacks grew bolder. She posted a video, tearfully claiming Elliot had stolen their parents' legacy, framing herself as a victim of his selfishness. The video racked up thousands of views, and the comments were brutal. How could he do this to his own sisters? Strangers began showing up at the house, some snapping photos, others leaving cruel notes taped to the mailbox. One read, "Give it back. Freak." Elliot's heart sank each time, but Liam burned the notes, his anger quiet but fierce. "They don't know us," he'd say, pulling Elliot close. The community around the lake, once a quiet refuge, started to fracture. Some neighbors, swayed by Meredith's posts, gave Elliot cold stares at the local market. Others, like Mrs. Delaney, the elderly baker down the road, left casseroles on their doorstep with notes, "Stay strong, boys." The small gestures kept Elliot going, but the weight of public judgment was crushing. He stopped checking his phone, unable to stomach the notifications. Liam, though, was relentless, rallying their friends to share their story, countering Meredith's lies with quiet truths. A local journalist, intrigued by the drama, reached out for an interview. Elliot hesitated, but Liam urged him forward. "Your voice matters," he said. "Let them hear it." The interview was raw, emotional. Elliot spoke of the house, of coming out, of finding Liam. "This isn't just a building," he said, his voice breaking. "It's where I learned to love myself." The article, published in a small regional paper, gained traction online, shared by allies and strangers moved by their story. For the first time, the tide seemed to shift. Comments called out Meredith's greed, Claire's manipulation. But the sisters didn't back down. Claire sent a cease and desist letter, accusing Elliot of defamation. Meredith posted a new thread, claiming the interview was fabricated to garner sympathy. The legal costs mounted, and Elliot's freelance work dried up as clients distanced themselves from the controversy. Liam took on extra cases, but the strain showed in his tired eyes. One night, as snow fell outside, Elliot broke down. "What if we lose?" he whispered, curled against Liam on the couch. Liam's arms tightened around him. "Then we build again," he said, But we're not there yet. They made love that night, slow and desperate, as if they could hold on to their world through touch alone. The lake was silent, the snow a soft blanket over their fears. But the sisters had one more card to play. A week later, a process server arrived with a lawsuit. Claire and Meredith were suing for a share of the house, claiming it was bought with family funds. The claim was baseless, but the legal battle would be long and costly. Liam's jaw clenched as he read the papers. "They're trying to bleed us dry," he said. Elliot felt the weight of it all, the house, their love, their future hanging by a thread. But as he looked at Liam, his partner, his home, he knew they'd fight to the end. Spring brought a fragile hope to the lake house, but the battle raged on. The lawsuit loomed, a dark cloud over Elliot and Liam's days. Their lawyer, a sharp woman named Rachel, confirmed the sisters' case was weak but warned that dragging it out could bankrupt them. Elliot felt trapped, his dreams of a quiet life with Liam slipping through his fingers. The house, once a symbol of freedom, now felt like a chain. Yet every morning, Liam's steady presence, his coffee brewing, his hand brushing Elliot's, reminded him what they were fighting for. Meredith's social media campaign hit new lows. She posted old family photos, editing them to paint Elliot as distant, cold. One post, a childhood picture of the three siblings, was captioned, "He was always different, always apart." The comments were vicious, some attacking Elliot's sexuality, others calling Liam a gold digger. The hate cut deep, but Liam's response was to double down. He helped Elliot create a website, ourlakehouse.com, where they shared their story, photos of the home, their love. "Let's show them who we are," Liam said, his eyes bright with defiance. The website gained traction, drawing support from unexpected places. A local LGBTQ+ group shared it, and donations trickled in to help with legal fees. Strangers left messages, "You're not alone." A queer couple from Buffalo drove up to leave flowers on the porch, their note reading, "Keep fighting for love." Elliot cried reading it, overwhelmed by the kindness amidst the chaos. But Claire wasn't swayed. She escalated the lawsuit, demanding an appraisal of the house, claiming it was undervalued to cheat her and Meredith. The legal maneuvers were relentless, each one chipping away at Elliot's resolve. One evening, as they sat on the dock, Liam proposed a risky move. "We go public bigger," he said. "A rally. Here. At the house. Invite the community, the press. Show them this is our home." Elliot hesitated, terrified of exposing their lives further. But Liam's conviction was infectious. They planned it for late spring, sending invites to neighbors, friends, and supporters. Meredith caught wind and posted a scathing video, calling it a publicity stunt and urging her followers to crash it. The threat hung heavy, but Elliot refused to back down. "This is our stand," he told Liam, their hands clasped. The rally was a gamble. They set up on the lawn, string lights twinkling, tables laden with food from supportive neighbors. Over 100 people came, friends, allies, even strangers who'd read the article. Elliot spoke, his voice shaking but clear. "This house is where I found love, where I found myself. I won't let greed take that away." Liam stood beside him, proud, his hand on Elliot's back. The crowd cheered. But as night fell, a group of Meredith's followers arrived, shouting slurs, holding signs, "Family first." The tension spiked, but the community rallied, forming a protective circle around Elliot and Liam. The intruders left, outnumbered by love. The rally made headlines, and the narrative began to shift. National outlets picked up the story, framing it as a battle for love against greed. Claire and Meredith's lies unraveled as public support grew. But the sisters weren't done. Claire filed a motion to freeze the house's title, halting any chance of refinancing to cover legal costs. The move was desperate, but it tightened the noose. Elliot and Liam sat up late, planning their next steps, their love the only thing keeping them afloat in a sea of uncertainty. Summer's warmth couldn't thaw the chill of the ongoing fight. The lawsuit dragged on, each court date a fresh wound. Elliot and Liam poured everything into defending the house, their savings dwindling, their energy fraying. Rachel, their lawyer, uncovered evidence that Claire had fabricated documents to bolster her family trust claim. But proving it would take time they didn't have. The stress seeped into their relationship. Small arguments flaring over money, over exhaustion. But every fight ended the same, Liam pulling Elliot close, whispering, "We're in this together." Meredith's online presence grew more toxic. She live-streamed from outside the house, spinning tales of a stolen legacy, while her followers sent death threats to Elliot's inbox. The harassment was relentless, but the community's support held strong. Mrs. Delaney organized a bake sale, raising funds for their legal battle. The LGBTQ+ group hosted a fundraiser, drawing hundreds. Elliot, once shy about his identity, found strength in their solidarity. He and Liam spoke at the event, sharing their story, their love. The crowd's applause was a balm, but the sisters' next move was a gut punch. Claire leaked private emails to a tabloid, twisting Elliot's words to paint him as manipulative, unstable. The article was vicious, questioning his mental health, his relationship with Liam. It hit Elliot hard, dragging up memories of his family's rejection when he came out. He stopped sketching, his creativity buried under shame. Liam noticed, and one night, he set up an easel on the deck, the lake shimmering under moonlight. "Draw us," he said, handing Elliot a pencil. "Draw what we're fighting for." Elliot's hands shook, but he sketched their hands entwined. The house, the lake. The act was a lifeline, pulling him back. The public tide began to turn decisively. A viral X thread from a supporter detailed the sisters' lies, backed by screenshots of Claire's forged documents. The post exploded, and Meredith's followers dwindled as people saw through her facade. Claire, cornered, doubled down, announcing a press conference to reveal the truth. Elliot and Liam watched it online, hearts pounding. Claire claimed the house was their parents' dream, stolen by Elliot. But her lies crumbled when a reporter, tipped off by Rachel, asked about the forged documents. Claire stammered, exposed, and the conference imploded. The backlash was swift. Meredith's account was suspended for targeted harassment, and Claire's real estate license came under review. The sisters' campaign faltered, but the legal battle wasn't over. Rachel pushed for a countersuit, alleging fraud and defamation. It was a bold move, but risky more time, more money. Elliot and Liam weighed their options, sitting on the dock where they'd first kissed. "Whatever happens," Liam said, his voice thick, "you're my home." Elliot nodded, tears falling. They were battered, but their love was unbreakable. The countersuit was their last stand. Rachel filed it in late summer, accusing Claire and Meredith of fraud, defamation, and emotional distress. The evidence was damning: forged documents, manipulated emails, Meredith's targeted harassment. Elliot and Liam knew it was a long shot, but it was their chance to reclaim their narrative. The court date was set for fall, and the waiting was torture. Elliot threw himself into his art, sketching the lake. Liam, their life, as if he could anchor their future through lines on paper. Liam buried himself in work, his calm facade hiding the strain. The community rallied harder. A local artist turned Elliot's sketches into prints, selling them to fund their legal fees. The lake house became a symbol, not just of their love, but of resilience against greed. Supporters left notes, flowers, even painted rocks with messages, "Love wins." But the sisters didn't go quietly. Claire, humiliated by the press conference, sent a final email, "You'll regret this." Meredith, her account reinstated, posted veiled threats, hinting at new evidence to end Elliot. The ambiguity was chilling, but Liam refused to let fear win. "They're desperate," he said. "We're not." The trial began in September, a grueling spectacle. Claire and Meredith took the stand, their stories unraveling under Rachel's cross-examination. Claire's forged documents were exposed, Meredith's harassment laid bare. Elliot testified, his voice steady as he spoke of the house, his love for Liam, the pain of his sister's betrayal. Liam followed, his testimony a quiet fire, detailing their life together, the home they'd built. The courtroom was silent, the weight of their truth undeniable. Even the judge, a stern older woman, seemed moved. Outside, supporters gathered, holding signs, "Protect their home." The media frenzy grew. But this time, the narrative was theirs. A national LGBTQ+ organization picked up the story, framing it as a fight for love and justice. The sisters' lies collapsed under scrutiny, and public opinion swung hard against them. Claire's real estate business tanked. Meredith lost sponsorships. But Elliot and Liam didn't celebrate. The trial was draining, their savings gone, their future uncertain. They clung to each other, the lake house their only constant. The verdict came on a rainy afternoon. The judge ruled in their favor. The house was Elliot's. The sisters' claims dismissed. The countersuit succeeded, awarding damages for defamation. It wasn't a fortune, but it was enough to start rebuilding. Elliot and Liam left the courtroom, hand in hand, the rain soaking them as they laughed, cried, kissed. The house was theirs, but more importantly, they had each other. The victory was bittersweet, family ties severed, but their love stronger than ever. The aftermath was quiet, the lake house serene again. Elliot and Liam stood on the dock, the October sun low, casting gold across the water. The trial was over, but the scars remained. They hadn't spoken to Claire or Meredith since the verdict, and the silence from family was deafening. Cousins who'd sided with the sisters sent hesitant apologies. Most were ignored. Elliot didn't want their pity, he wanted peace. Liam, ever practical, focused on rebuilding, paying off debts, repairing their lives. The community's support didn't waver. Mrs. Delaney brought pies. Neighbors hosted dinners. And the LGBTQ+ group named Elliot and Liam community heroes at a local gala. Elliot's art took off, his sketches of the lake house resonating with thousands. A gallery in Albany offered him a show, and he poured his heart into it, each piece a testament to their fight. Liam, meanwhile, took a job at a nonprofit, advocating for housing rights. Their work became their healing, their love the foundation. But the past lingered. One night, Elliot found an old photo of him and his sisters as kids, laughing on a beach. He cried, mourning the family he'd lost, not just to the lawsuit, but to years of misunderstanding. Liam held him, silent, letting him grieve. "You're my family now," Elliot whispered, and Liam nodded, kissing his forehead. They began planning a future, maybe a wedding, maybe kids, maybe just more nights by the lake. The house was theirs, but their dreams were bigger. Meredith broke her silence with a public apology, posted on X. It was half-hearted, blaming misunderstandings, but it was something. Claire vanished from the public eye, her business in ruins. Didn't need their approval anymore. He and Liam hosted a celebration at the house, inviting everyone who'd stood by them. The lawn was alive with laughter, music, string lights glowing. Elliot gave a toast, his voice steady. This house is more than walls. It's love. It's home. It's us. The crowd cheered, Liam's eyes shining with pride. As winter approached, they started anew. Elliot's gallery show was a success, his art a bridge to others who'd faced rejection. Liam's work gave him purpose, his advocacy a way to give back. They were battered, but whole, their love a quiet triumph. The lake house stood strong, its cedar walls holding their story, their future. And every night, they'd sit on the dock, hands entwined, the lake whispering their victory. The first snow fell, blanketing the lake house in silence. Elliot and Liam stood on the deck, wrapped in a shared blanket, watching the flakes drift over the water. The fight was over, the house theirs, their love unbroken. But the journey had changed them. Elliot was no longer the quiet artist hiding his truth. He was a man who'd fought for his place in the world. Liam, once guarded, now wore his heart openly, his love for Elliot a badge of honor. They'd lost family, but gained a community, a purpose, a future. Elliot's art became his voice. His gallery show toured, each piece telling their story, the dock where they'd kissed, the lake that held their secrets, the house that stood through it all. Strangers wrote to him, sharing their own struggles, their own fights for love. He answered every letter, his words a lifeline. Liam's advocacy grew, his work helping others facing housing disputes, his passion fueled by their ordeal. They were a team, their love a force that turned pain into hope. One evening, as the lake froze, Liam knelt on the dock, a ring glinting in his hand. "Marry me," he said, his voice steady, eyes locked on Elliot's. Tears fell as Elliot nodded, pulling Liam up, kissing him fiercely. The ring was simple, silver, perfect. They planned a spring wedding at the house, inviting their community, their chosen family. The sisters weren't invited, some wounds didn't heal. But Elliot found peace in letting go, in choosing love over resentment. The wedding was small, intimate, the lake shimmering under April sun. Mrs. Delaney baked the cake, friends strung lights, and the LGBTQ plus group sang. Elliot and Liam vowed to love, to fight, to build a life together. The crowd cheered, the moment a triumph over every lie, every hate-filled comment. They danced on the lawn, the house glowing behind them, a symbol of their resilience. Years later, the lake house remained their heart. They adopted a daughter, Lily, who ran through the halls, her laughter echoing. Elliot painted, Liam advocated, and together they taught Lily the value of love, of standing up. The sisters faded into memory, their greed a distant shadow. The house, the lake, their love it was all they needed. And as they sat on the dock, Lily between them, the water still, Elliot knew they'd won. Not just the house, but a life worth fighting for.